Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morrisman, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. Today I'm going to do kind of a showcase, and I'm going to do a series of these as far as talking about vintage gear, you know, and the things that I've used over the years to write hit songs and charted songs. And it's not going to be a video where I'm going to give you stats, because I'm not a stats kind of guy. The only thing I need to know is how to work it and put it into my setup, you know, as far as the parameters and the Midi, all that. Don't need to know that. So, again, today focus is going to be on showcasing the Roland JV880. And why I like this unit so much, I've written a lot of songs, and out of, I say 90% of the songs, they have been keyboard based. Even though I'm a guitar player, I play little keyboards, and I love the keyboard. I mean, guitar is just guitar, you know, whether it's under distortion or chorus, it's just guitar. But if you are a pretty decent keyboard player with some good sound rack modules, you can create a symphony by yourself. The strings, the horns, the violins, the pianos, all that stuff you can do on keyboard. And that's why I'm such of a big keyboard player fan, you know. And out of all the sound modules I've had, because I've had many of them, I've written more songs using this module than any other song, than any other module. One of my favorite songs that I've written, actually I posted on my channel, is called In Your Eyes. And that song was originally written for Ricky Bell from Bell Biv DeVoe and New Edition. And it was going to go on his solo album, but unfortunately it was never released. But I have a version of, I say my scratch version of the song that I presented to them, and they recorded it. And it's one of my favorite songs, and all of the sounds in that particular song I did on the JV880. The pianos, the strings, everything, the bass line. Only thing that I didn't do on that track with the JV880 was the drums. I used some different drums. But what I like about this unit is, for one, it's not dated. I mean, this unit sound like it came out maybe 2 years ago, and when it's actually maybe 16 years old now. Not only the sounds are still relevant today, the quality, because you know, I had a few other keyboard modules that I worked with back in the day, the Kawari K1, just to name a few. And by today's standard, it would fail miserably because it's 12-bit. Piano is extremely grainy. The soundscape sounds are pretty still decent, but they're still not as good as far as the ones of today. But this unit here, one reason why I love it so much, I don't know if I showed it yet, it's because it's so powerful. I mean, I plug this thing up and I run it through my mixing board and boom, you know, unbelievable. I think Roland still has the best string sounds around. No one can touch Roland when it comes to strings. I love the soundscape patches in here, the bass, the acoustic or nylon guitar sounds, still relevant, still sound good. The piano sounds are good, but I've heard better, you know. And this is a unit that, the reason why I'm showcasing it today is you can get this unit now for a steal. This unit was like maybe $700 when it first came out, and it was worth every penny of it. And now you can get them, believe it or not, for like $79 at Guitar Center website, Reverb.com for about $100, eBay for about $100, merrygoround.com for about $100. I mean, they just literally giving them away. When again, this is kind of one of, you know, the sound modules, one of the most kept secrets sound module, because there's some other sound modules out there that came out about 15 years ago, and people want to try to charge you $400 for them because they're vintage, but they don't sound that good. But this thing here, the sounds today, the sounds are still relevant. It has a slot in here where you can put in more sounds to the memory card, and then on the back you can take this piece off and put in what's called an expansion board, which is actually will give you actually an entirely different sound module, you know, actually technically. And it has multiple outs in the back, which is very important for studio work, because if you want to do a stereo piano, you want that piano on a separate track, you can run it into the mixing board separately. Then if you got another sound going on in here, like a bass sound, you can run it to another channel, and you can keep them separate during the recording process, because it's very important to try to keep your stuff separate as possible when you're doing studio professional recordings. For many reasons. For one, it's the EQ, because the frequency on the piano is totally different from a frequency on the bass. You might want to put a little reverb on your piano, but you never want to put nothing on your bass but compression. So, you know, if you got these stuck together in one channel, you know, you can't do too much as far as individually customizing your sound, you know. But I can't say enough about this board, you know, the module. And again, they literally giving them away. I mean, if you're in the market for a good piano module, got nice string sounds, this is definitely the one. And again, what I like about this, if I didn't mention it, and forgive me if I did already, but this is important. This sound module to me is one of the strongest sound modules I've ever worked with, meaning that when I plug it in, mix it, put it into the mixer, boom, you know, the sound is just there in your face. What you want to do is stay away from those little tiny half rack mount sound modules, because I call them half-ass, because they don't crank out as much power, you know, when you're working with them. And then also, on a lot of those, you got to go buy these adapter RCA cord things to plug into a half quarter inch into the mixer. So that's another telltale sign or warning sign. That's a toy. Stay away from it. But that's what I've always loved about this thing. This thing has its presence, because I got quite a few other sound modules and they sound good, but they don't have that boom presence that's the JV880. One of my all-time favorite sound modules. I mean, I would actually say it's my all-time favorite, because I've had several of these throughout the years that, you know, when I sell them, then I go back and I have to go get another one. Then if I sell that one, I go back and get another one. So, you know, this is always going to stay in my arsenal. So I'm signing off now, but I just thought I would do a, I guess, my thoughts on this, because again, this is not a review on stats and all that, the Midi and all that. But I will say this before I sign off. Very Midi user-friendly. Whenever I go in here to set my Midi channels, it's not hard to do. I can get to it. Doesn't take a forever to find it. And I set my parameters to how I want it. I shut the machine off. I turn it back on tomorrow to work on the same project. It's still there. A lot of these sound modules now, it take you 30 minutes to find out, to go in there to shut off some Midi receiving channels and turn this one on, turn it off. And then you turn that unit off, it goes default right back to where it was. And so that means now when you turn it back on, you got to go fumbling through it again for another hour looking for the parameters. So always been user friendly. I have not had any problems regarding getting what I want out of here and getting it quickly and not being confused. So until next time, I'm signing off. But I just said just thought I would do this video, and I'm going to do a series of these videos as far as vintage gear and how to use them, you know, my recommendations. So until next time, take care. As always, thanks for watching.